January 17th, 1950. A cold winter night draped over Boston. To anyone walking its streets, it seemed like an ordinary evening, but beneath that calm surface, 11 men were preparing to make history. In just 35 minutes, they would pull off one of the boldest robberies America had ever seen and walk away with what would be worth more than $30 million today. This is the story of the great Brinks Robbery, the real-life inspiration for Ocean's 11. A crime so carefully executed it baffled the FBI, and yet so fragile it would crumble because of one man's grudge. In the 1940s, one building in Boston stood apart, not for its architecture or heritage, but for what it held: millions in cash, checks, and valuables. The Brinks Building, headquarters of Brinks Armored Car Company, was a fortress of steel and concrete, considered unbreakable. No one dared challenge it. But Anthony Pino, a small-time thief from Boston's North End, saw an opportunity. By 1947, he had been watching the depot for months, learning the routines, guard patterns, and delivery schedules. He knew he couldn't do it alone. He needed a team, the right team. Pino enlisted Joseph McInnes, a respected figure in Boston's underworld. McInnes brought experience and connections. Together, they recruited Joseph "Specs" O'Keefe and Stanley Gasciora, men known for their muscle and nerve. Vincent Costa, Pino's brother-in-law, would act as the lookout. John Banfield, McInnes's trusted associate, would drive the getaway. Completing the crew were James Ignatius Fardy, an expert armed robber, Adolph Maffei, Michael Vincent Keegan, Thomas Francis Richardson, and Henry Baker. 11 men, each with skills, each with a hunger for a fortune that seemed impossible to claim. Once the crew was assembled, Pino set to work. He knew this would take months, months of observation, timing, and practice. Every detail mattered. A single misstep could ruin everything. Pino watched the building closely. He studied the schedules, the daily routines, and even the flickering of the lights. The cash they wanted sat on the second floor behind 5 locked doors. Breaking through that barrier would require patience and precision. Step by step, they stole the building's locked cylinders, one at a time. Those cylinders were used to make working keys, then quietly replaced, leaving no trace. They acquired a green 1949 Ford stake body truck as their escape vehicle. Over November and December, they practiced every turn, every stop, until the route became second nature. They designed their disguises: navy pea coats, gloves, chauffeur caps, and rubber Halloween masks that completely hid their faces. Several test runs brought them close, almost too close, but they always pulled back, waiting for the perfect night. January 17th, 1950. The night had arrived. The crew met in Roxbury, loaded into the truck, and drove toward the Brinks depot. Inside, their actions were methodical. Employees were forced to the floor, hands bound, mouths taped. In just 35 minutes, the vault was emptied. Bags filled with roughly $1.5 million in cash. The men disappeared into the night along the carefully planned escape route. Costa fled in a stolen sedan. Banfield disposed of the truck. The others created alibis, blending back into Boston. For a moment, the heist seemed flawless. Immediately after the robbery, police and FBI agents descended on the Brinks building. The scene was quiet. Terrified employees described professionals, precise, robotic, speaking little. Investigators found a discarded mask, tape, and a hat. One employee even gave a serial number from a gun, a starting point. 2 weeks later, boys near the Mystic River found a rusted gun from the heist. The next day, police found another in terrible condition. Investigators interviewed past and present Brinks employees. Brinks offered a $100,000 reward.
Read all about it.
Witnesses described a green Ford truck near the depot on the day of the robbery. After a month, truck parts were found in Stoughton, Massachusetts, linking O'Keefe and Gasciora to the vehicle. They claimed to have been drinking in Boston around 7 p.m., and without concrete proof, authorities had to release them. The hardest part of the crime was staying hidden. Some crew members couldn't resist returning to crime. O'Keefe and Gasciora went on road trips. code for burglaries, and were eventually caught in Pennsylvania. O'Keefe received 3 years, Gasciora 5 to 20. While in prison, investigators noticed the pair weren't writing to family. They wrote to Boston associates asking for legal funds, including Pino, McInnes, Maffei, and Baker. Something was wrong. Authorities called the group back for questioning. Each suspect tried to provide an alibi, Pino at home and at McInnes's liquor store, Baker at dinner, then a walk, Farty drinking, Banfield supposedly drunk since New Year's Eve. Yet witnesses contradicted them. Around 7 p.m., everyone seemed to shift locations, leaving a murky timeline during the critical 7:10–7:27 p.m. window. In November 1952, a federal grand jury met as the statute of limitations neared. By January 1953, 3 years after the heist, they concluded there was insufficient evidence to indict. The crew was safe, for now. 3 years stretched ahead. O'Keefe's letters demanding support grew increasingly hostile. March 1954, he reunited with other suspects. 2 months later, O'Keefe kidnapped Costa, Pino's brother-in-law, releasing him after a ransom. Attempts on O'Keefe's life followed. Bullets shattered windshields. He was shot in the chest but survived. He fled Boston, was arrested for firearm possession, violating parole, and sentenced to 2 years. Pressure mounted within the crew. January 1955, Banfield died naturally. FBI sensed an opportunity. By December 1955, O'Keefe's frustration reached its peak. On January 6, 1956, he finally spoke. "All right, what do you want to know?" The crew had waited 5 years, 11 months, and 20 days, just 11 days shy of the 6-year state statute. On January 12th, authorities moved. Baker, Hagen, Maffei, Costa, McInnes, and Pino were arrested. Faherty and Richardson fled but were captured shortly after. Gasciora died in prison from a head injury. The remaining men went to trial. Sentences: life for armed robbery, plus additional years for conspiracy, theft, and entering. O'Keefe, cooperating, received 4 years. Where was the money? On June 3, 1956, police in Baltimore arrested a man suspected of passing counterfeit bills. Over $1,000 was found on him, nearly $4,000 in a hotel room. Among it, $4,635 matched serial numbers from the Brinks heist. Under pressure, he named an associate, Fat Joe. Officers tracked him down to a hidden metal container behind a wall. Inside were piles of cash totaling nearly $60,000, some decomposed. Despite this, more than $1.1 million from the robbery has never been recovered. 11 men, one perfect plan. And yet greed, mistakes, and grudges prove that even the most meticulous crime can unravel.